Hey everyone, I am here to give a quick demo of the Boulevard platform. Just as some background here, I've tried several main booking options and point of sale systems for spas and salons, and Boulevard is by far my favorite. And I'm just going to dive into why. So for a point of reference, I'm working here from a med spa. So when you log in, this is the first thing you see. I don't know of any other software that I've ever tried or even seen that has this front desk feature. So if we're going off today's schedule, you can see all the appointments that have been completed over here on the right-hand side, the people who have already checked in, who have already confirmed that they're coming, and then of course the unconfirmed appointments that we still have. Now, I absolutely love this for so many reasons, not least of which is if you're the person trying to schedule appointments or see which of your clients have come in, whether or not you are manning the front desk, this is a very easy, very simple layout. Now, I can't stress enough how much I love the color scheme here. So you'll notice that all of these customers have a slight tint to their profile pictures. Now, that's because it's associated with the employees. So these pictures here are the profile pictures for each of the employees at the spa. And here you'll see the name of each of the people who have an appointment. So if I'm looking at this just by color, boom, pop, I can see here that Alyssa has an appointment at 11:05, 11:25, and then Crystal has one at 12:15. I can pop over here and see that Alyssa already completed one earlier. Crystal already completed one earlier. It makes it very easy if I'm managing anyone or if I want to see what my color is versus other colors. So to play around, I'm going to start by just clicking on this. Okay, this is one of my absolute favorite parts about the customer management side of Boulevard. So you'll notice that it has this quick view, right? You can see they were booked on the 5th, 2:02, they likely booked it themselves. But it says they booked that acupuncture consultation. So I see how many times they visited before. I see how much they spend on average every 7 weeks. I have their quick information right here. And then I can just click on that name and boom, pops this comprehensive client profile. As the person providing services, this makes my job so much easier. I absolutely hate meeting a new client or someone I think is new, but they've been there before and they're already annoyed with me because I don't know information about them. I don't know that they have certain allergies or that they've already filled out the forms with another masseuse or something. So this, it's all right here. I get to see it all, whether or not they have ever worked with me before. And again, accommodations, if they had any, would come up right here. History of messages, if I need to send a message to them, I can, and it just pops up right here. Quick text, like, hey Albin, just checking in. And then I can just send it. Very simple. And then boop, it pops up right here. Now, I've sent that message to Albin, right? So if I were to exit here, this feature right here, very easy to find because of the simple layout, is the messages center. That message I just sent to Albin is going to pop up right here. Now, any message that anyone using this platform sends will pop up right here. So if I, let's say, want to know whether Desmond is still scheduled for his appointment, even though I might not be the person working with Desmond, I can go to the messages and I can check here and be like, oh, Desmond said that he needs to cancel. Something came up. And then if I'm the person, let's say, managing the front desk, I can simply look at the calendar and get back to Desmond. So let's take a look at that calendar. So as I mentioned, color scheme, really advantageous in the calendar function. Maybe not so much in the front desk if you're not accustomed to it, but the calendar feature here makes it very easy. I know what time it is right now. I can see what appointments we have upcoming, and each staff member has their own color, and of course, not just a single row, but a single column. So that makes it very easy to look down and see what schedules we have here, right? So if I were to, again, click on any of these, it comes up with that same set of information about the client. I can click on this, get the full client profile right here. I cannot stress enough how much simpler that is as the person providing the information, because it makes it easy for me to see any history that they have, any services they may have booked in the past, whether or not they are likely to show up. We have the show rate listed here. We might have someone booked and I check out who I have for the afternoon and it says that Darren has a 25% show rate. Okay, well then I know to send him a message like, hey, just making sure you're coming. So if I am booking, and let's say we go back to the messages here, Desmond says, oh no, something came up. He needs to cancel the following, and maybe book it the following day, right? So Desmond had his appointment on Monday. Let's go to the calendar. Let's see if we have time today. And let's say, oh, Zach has time at 3. I can just click on this box. I can put new appointment and then Desmond. I can book that right now for the same thing. I can search for other services if, let's say, he's doing a cool sculpting appointment with Zach. And then I pick the times. So from here, I can either confirm that appointment, or I can just go over here and talk to Desmond and be like, yes, absolutely. And then I just send that and we're done. And once he gets back to me, then I can book his appointment. So those are the basic features that most people would use. What I really like is the setup of the user interface, the limited colors. As you can see here, there's just a lot of basic black, white, and light gray. So I know what it is I'm looking for up here because it doesn't use icons, which is a personal pet peeve of mine. I'm not a child. This is a professional platform, so I think it should look professional. And for that, I don't think it should rely on icons. I think it should have actual words, which Boulevard does. So part of the reason I have found that this layout is so user-friendly and advantageous for building those customer relationships and making sure that schedules are maintained is because Boulevard was designed by professionals. So a lot of the pain points that used to annoy me in other platforms used to annoy the creators. So they figured out a way to fix all of that, to have things like communication in one place, but an easy way to click on this client profile, build that information out, keep those messages in a place, see what's going on. So if you're someone who's looking at the back end to see what's going on, you have the sales information right here. So this shows you all of the orders, and this is based on the day. So I can easily see what we have had today, yesterday. I can put in a new sale. Let's say we're putting in a new sale from Darren. So we're putting this in. I'm going to make that a little bit bigger so everyone can see. Darren wants to do 4 weeks he's doing this cool sculpting, right? Darren is ready for summer. He wants to look trim. He probably had his wife bring him along. So if this is what we are booking, oops, I can add the service that he booked. So let's say he wants to add retinol cream. He's buying something for his wife as well. Then I add the code right here. I can put in any codes that he has. End of year sale, holiday sale. Let's say today he's doing the holiday sale for 4th of July holiday. Well, that'll take $20 off that price. I can easily add a gratuity right now if he says so. So let's say, I think it wasn't Ben, Zach. So Zach was his person, adding a gratuity over here. Let's say he wants to give Zach $20, not 2 cents. So that's added to the bill, very easy. You can input the information here, select card, put in that information, select cash, gift card. If he's paid with a card before, it's already saved. So you can just enter it manually, swipe a new one, or use the one that he has on file. You put in that billing code, and then you charge the money, done. It's that simple. You can print the receipt, you can send the receipt to him via email. Super easy to make sales go through no matter what. And you can do it all from right here. So I've had platforms before where it won't process certain cards and you have to put them all in manually. And that is such a buzzkill for the client who, for example, just finished a really relaxing massage or a float appointment and they're ready to pay and go because they're on a tight schedule. And then I look ridiculous because I'm like, oh, sorry, I don't know why it's not working. Can I please see your card again? And no one wants to hand their card over to a stranger when they should be able to simply swipe or tap and be done with it. So this process is very simple. You're not going to find a lot of those glitches that you get with other systems. So payments here, I can see which payments were made. Look, Darren's payment just pulled up on his Visa, made today at 11:23. and we see the total, I can pull that up and see that he bought that retinol product for his wife. It's not going to say it's for his wife, but we know it's for his wife. I can look at the register. This is just a quick peek. If I want to know how we're doing for the day, here it is. I can see what we're going on, what's going on. I can see what was going on Saturday. Excuse me. I can pick whichever time I want. Gift cards. I can see which gift cards were purchased by whom. Very easy. Not all platforms support gift cards, and that can be a big problem when trying to maintain that customer loyalty. So obviously the creators of the Boulevard platform really knew what they were doing. They knew what the pain points were for other platforms, and they met them head on. You can also set up memberships. So memberships, easy thing to do. This is obviously based on what your institution offers. As we are a med spa, we do, in this example, offer things like hydrofacial memberships, hair removal memberships, and these are some of the most common. And you'll see whether something is active or canceled. And if it is active, let's say Abigail comes in and she wants to know when her next charge date is, I can say, you know what, it's going to be on the 29th. And it looks like we have your card on file that ends in 9455. And if that's what she wants to keep using, she's good. So again, being able to pull up this client information, no matter where I click on Abigail's name, it will pull this up, and I'm not going to lose my place in line, as it were, right? So if I'm looking at memberships, I can click on Abigail and it's all right here. Forms that she has filled out, products that she has purchased, packages that she has purchased, any photos that we might have, especially if we're doing a before and after for something like cool sculpting. That's all in one place. So Abigail could pop up anywhere else when I type in a name, and all that same information would appear. So on the note of building good clients, this obviously keeps all your clients in one place, and it lets you know which type of marketing they prefer. So we're going to close Desmond here, because for some reason he is in the way. You can also select people by audience. So if you have a new location, although this is misspelled, a new audience, you can create audiences. So let's say you want to create an audience based on things like the appointment status they have. I want to create the appointment is booked already. So those are the people I want to view and possibly send information to, like follow-up emails. Maybe a client is not booked, but I want to make sure that I can send clients who don't have an appointment scheduled for the next 90 days, some sort of promo that we're doing. I can also create audiences based on other needs. Let's say the type of service people have received. So if I want to do, they had facials before. Let's say we're doing a discount on facials. I have 250 clients who have done facials in the past. Now I can apply that filter and 250 of them come up. I save that as an audience. We're going to save that as our facial group. And now I have this group that I can use for specific things. So I can see all the people who have booked a facial group. And as I said, no matter where you click on someone's name, it will pull up that full information. Right here, I can look at what forms they've filled out. I can look at the products they've purchased. Laser hair removal membership. Okay, so Michelle's done memberships in the past. Well, if I know she's also booked a facial, maybe I can promote things like facial packages, 3 for the price of 2, or 50% off, buy one, get one free. So with this group here, I can save that group. That's 8% of our clients. And I can export that information. I can also use that information later when sending marketing materials. So let's do a quick hop, skip, and a jump over here to marketing. So if I want to do a new campaign, I can do email or text. So let's do a text campaign. I now have that facial group audience that I already picked. So I want to send it to everyone who's had a facial. That's going to be about 92 people based on the number of people who want to have email campaigns, text messages and not just emails, right? So that's what I can do from there. And then I go next and I put, hey, client name, ready for, let's say we want to do something else here. All right, and I'm going to include a link to book their appointment. Now, if I have something else, like a campaign I've already saved for marketing, I could potentially link to that too. But I can see right here exactly what it's going to look like. So it's coming from the spa. They can text back if they don't want it, but I can also put in emojis. I can add images if I want to. Maybe I want to add an image from the computer. I want to add tags. That's what it'll look like. And then I can just send it to all of my facial groups. Schedule it. Maybe I don't want to send it right now. Maybe I want to send it next week or tomorrow when the campaign starts. So we're going to launch this buy one, get one free campaign tomorrow morning in time for the weekend. I can save it and schedule it, and there it is. So that makes it really easy to make whatever group you want right here, make audiences as it were, subscribers, facial groups, injectable clients, any of these, and then easily send marketing campaigns via email or text to those people. So new campaigns, these are blast campaigns, right? I love the automated campaigns as well. It's another feature that does have some crossover with comparable platforms, but I like the way they have filling slow days and last minute openings in particular. So right now, filling slow days, this is what it looks like. Let's say we want it to trigger when 30% or more of Zach's schedule becomes available. I can send it via email or text. I can pick which one based on client preferences. And I can pick, since we do have 2 locations, all locations or just Santa Monica because that's his preferred location. And this easy way to get people to fill in those spots so that our team stays active. Last minute openings, same idea. We have a lot of people who book appointments online when they're new and then they end up canceling. And they usually cancel at the last minute when we send a reminder text about their upcoming appointment. Well, so now we have those spaces that are completely free. But guess what? We can create these emails or text messages directly from the spa and send them based on client preferences to automatically trigger so that we can hopefully get more appointments booked. Now we can also do birthday messages. We can send these reminders right here about their next appointment. And this I like when I don't usually do 30 days, I usually do 60 days. So let's say 60 days after their last appointment, because sometimes there's 1 month where maybe you can't afford something, you get distracted, you're on vacation. So if a client has gone 2 months without booking an appointment, especially one that books regularly, we can send these out just as a little nudge, a little reminder. So let's go back to reports here. A lot of the benefit you get with such comprehensive support here is the easy interface. As you can see, this overview is very simple. You click on reports and this is what you see. Average sales right here. Average retail sales, retail to service percent. And this is every week. I can see last week compared to this week. I can see returning client ratios. I can see how many appointments we've had. I can see what our utilization is, the sales we've had over time, given a current week. Now, if I want more information, obviously quick summaries. So sales summaries, daily summaries, product sales. Maybe we started selling a new retinol cream, like the kind Darren bought for his wife. And I want to know how that's going. Well, if I'm going to add something like retinol cream, I can see how many product sales we've had for the day. I can change it to a full time frame. I can change it last month, last year. I can say, oh, we've been doing this for 3 months. Let's see how many sales we've generated in that time for those different products, right? So you can see here that there's a serum. We've been selling about $25,000 over the last 30 days. So it's a good serum. I can check on packages. Membership sales. As I mentioned, we currently have these 3 memberships, but if I were to add a facial membership, that would add another row here with updated information. I can also check on the staff, see how that's going, see how their commissions are going, see how our inventory is, how our appointment metrics are looking. All of that is here in a very easy to use fashion. I cannot stress enough how many platforms I have looked at that just generate this horrible outdated Excel spreadsheet looking headache when you go to the sales information. It's so terrible that you don't even want to look at it. So Boulevard really met that pain point well. Everything here, simple summaries. It is a table. It is a basic table. There's nothing you can do about that. But the restricted color use makes things so much easier to see. They have just tiny little details that make things much better. Like the, let's see if we can pull one up here. I'm going to look at the daily summaries. Do you see how much space there is in terms of the size of the text to the size of the row? That's a small detail, but one that makes a big difference. Most people don't think about that when they're looking at these spreadsheets, but it's not crunched together tiny numbers that make your eyes bleed. So I love that you have a lot of information there. And then last thing, in this management section, this is where you can control all the other information that basically fills out these sections. So schedule, you can add each of the individuals and when they work, the hours they work, how many days they work. If Zach wants to start adding shifts on Monday, let's say he's going to be the one in charge of that facial package, I can just boop, publish that shift moving forward. Now he's working Mondays 9 to 6. So that's a very easy thing to change. Resources, services, products, purchase orders, packages, all of this is right here. Membership plans, if I wanted to add more, if I wanted to link new products, this is our information right here. Client notifications, these will tell you what you send before and after appointments to your client. So if I want to get ratings on our services, I can turn this on, very easy. Now, a thing that sets Boulevard apart from some of the other services, in addition to, of course, everything I've talked about here, is the way that you can set your services in order. So this is a very important feature, especially for a med spa. So scheduling order, when I first populate our data and I add our services, I'm going to put them in order of what services have to go when, because you can't be the person who books that new facial package with Zach and then immediately after your facial go into a massage. So this cool sculpting, all of this goes first. Consultation is the absolute first thing. And then if you're doing one area, that goes first, 2 areas second, and so on. After that, you can do hair removal, laser hair removal. But you don't do laser hair removal before cool sculpting if you're going to book both of them. So you can see that all of these things go in this order. So when a client books an appointment, let's say for acupuncture and for a facial peel, it will automatically put the acupuncture consultation after the facial peel. So that's something that is very small and yet incredibly meaningful. So as I said, there's a lot to like here. It is my absolute favorite out of all the things I've tried. There's really nothing that I have to complain about this platform, except that, it doesn't have a front-facing, client-facing marketplace, but most people who book Boulevard are not looking for that type of promo. They do make up for it in terms of all the marketing options they have and how easily that is facilitated in terms of that client support, building those long-term client relationships, being able to click on a client anywhere and see so much information about them. And of course, to be able to communicate with them in real time in the same platform right here, check on Desmond, see when he's available, see this front desk feature, and manage those reports and the order of services. So there's a lot to love here. And for people who are wondering whether or not it's worth the price or whether it's worth all the services, I would say absolutely.